Hey there, this is Smooth A.D. Robles, and I wanted to do a little bit of black theology reading today. Let's play a little roulette, shall we? We did this once before, and it was quite interesting. I think everybody really found it very interesting and helpful. Just want to let you know before we get started, you may hear a child, a baby, in the background crying or making some funny little baby sounds. That's because I'm watching my child right now, and thought I'd read him a little bedtime story from Liberation, a Black Theology of Liberation by Dr. James Cone. Dr. James Cone is interesting. You might remember James Cone. He's the guy that is an unorthodox, heretical theologian that Walter Strickland, a supposed Southern Baptist, is teaching to your children if you send them to Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary. Now, he doesn't tell everyone that he's teaching James Cone, but he is. He just doesn't want to jar anybody. He doesn't want to make anyone suspicious of his motivations. But to Walter Strickland, James Cone is a very useful tool. Now, Walter Strickland, he's been using a lot of suspicious tools, if you know what I mean. He's probably the architect of the Resolution 9, which said that critical theory is a very useful tool for Christians. These are very, very troubling things, but it sounds so smooth. And so let's play a little roulette, shall we? Let's read it here. All right, I'm going to say stop. All right, here we go. I can't take off my glasses because I can't see. Here we go. He says, Black theology rejects this technique. You know what? I'm not going to do my smooth voice. It's just too hard. Black theology rejects this technique as the work of the white Christ, whose basic purpose is to soothe the guilt feelings of white overlords. Inherent in the recognition of the oppressed condition is the rebellion against it with all one's might. To know oppression is to refuse to put up with it. That is why black oppression and liberation are a manifestation of the revelation of God. To be oppressed means that one is enslaved against his will by alien forces, and liberation means that one is willing to pay the cost of freedom, including death. Now we put the question to our white suburbanites. What power is keeping you out there? Is it not true that the so-called oppression of which you speak is freely accepted because you are unwilling to pay the price for real freedom? The basic difference between black oppression and so-called white oppression is the fact that the latter is voluntarily chosen, while the former is forced upon the black community. White people can leave their ghettos whenever they please, while black people are confined against their will. Black suffering is not by choice, but it's the result of evil white people who happen to believe that they should have the first, last, and only word in how the world ought to be run. This is not to deny that whites are enslaved. What we deny is their ability to know and to analyze their slavery. The depravity of the oppressors is their enslavement to their own freedom. Since they are free to do what they will to the oppressed, the only check being their pious feelings about the world, it is not possible for them to see the oppressed or themselves as human beings. The oppressed become objects to be used to make the world more amenable to the whims of their masters. Thus, the oppressors are enslaved and dehumanized by their own will to power. They storm the citadel of the gods, claiming sole authority to declare what is real and right, and to shape the world accordingly. If they are to be liberated from such megalomania, it must be done by the oppressed. When oppressed affirm their freedom by refusing to behave according to the master's rules, they not only liberate themselves from oppression, but they also liberate the oppressors from the enslavement of their illusions. Therefore, the basic error of white comments about their own oppression is the assumption that they know the nature of their enslavement. This cannot be so, because if they really knew, they would liberate themselves by joining the revolution of the black community. They would destroy themselves and be born again as beautiful black people. Listen up, all you Southern Baptists. This is what's being taught to your children. You see, you white people, you are the oppressor. Everything that you do is just for the continued oppression of black people. And if you want to be born again, what you need to do is become black people. That's the ideas of James Cone. Now, where you might be asking, where does he get this stuff? What verse does he quote to say that you must be born again and hence become beautiful black people? I don't have it saved here because I literally just played roulette. This kind of craziness is on every page. This is not a useful tool. This is heresy. I've got news for you, white people. In order to be born again, you do not have to become black. Your white skin is a gift from God, just like my delicious cafe skin is a gift from God, just like black skin is a gift from God, or whatever kind of skin, albino skin, whatever it is. That's a gift from God. God made you your ethnicity. God made you to be alive at a certain time with your ethnicity in a certain nation, in a certain context. He made you to be a minority or a majority. He made you to be a rich person or a poor person. God's in charge of it all. And so to have this idea that you have to somehow reject what you were made in order and become something different. You have to reject your white skin and become a black person in order to be saved. I know he's speaking in some ways as in rhetorical, words, but in actuality he's not. Because if you are born black, you are by nature a freedom fighter. You are by nature oppressed, and you are by nature superior to someone born white. That is unfortunate, but that is what is taught by Dr. James Cone. We will do more reading from Dr. James Cone, because I think the antidote to this stuff is just to read it. Just to read it, because I think most reasonable people will know that they don't want Walter Strickland teaching your kids that this is a useful tool. This is garbage. This is garbage. Anyway, that was a weird episode. I kind of was going halfway smooth, halfway regular. I don't even know what I was doing with that, but I hope you found it helpful. God bless. Hey, Noah, what'd you think of Dr. James Cone? Did you like him? Did you like that? What do you think about it? Mwah. You're really cute. Let's see if you can be smooth, Noah. There you go. Smooth Noah at your service. Oh, here he goes. Don't put that in your mouth.